Up next, James Line. Go ahead, James.
Good morning. Two quick points, please. Look, I think this is bigger than it's being generally reported. I think it's about the Enlightenment itself. I mean, the only kind of freedom of speech that matters is the freedom of speech to criticize and attack political and religious authority, which at the time of the Enlightenment was the exact same, and in Islamic countries is exactly the same all over the world today, and is rapidly growing. The connection between political and religious authority is the same. The purpose of the Enlightenment was Europe freed itself from religious authority as tyranny by granting itself, at the cost of many lives, the right to criticize religious authority. Now, when you see these newspapers and these media outlets and so on blurring out and pixelating the cartoons and then making up these preposterous excuses, I mean, they are tissue paper thin. What they're becoming is actual accomplices in ending the Enlightenment. Because once you say that, and you notice, as other callers have pointed out, they're still showing caricatures of anti-Semitic images. And I'd like to point out an extremely important distinction there. When we're talking about the ideology of Islam, which they're saying we can't criticize, not just in caricatures, but when we point out things which are true about the Quran or about Islamic history or about what they teach or about what Islam is. Whether they're true or not actually is weirdly secondary, but we're talking about an ideology here. And they're saying that they're going to kill us and do kill us if we speak out about it. Yet, which is not racism, because it's like criticizing communism or capitalism or the Republicans or the NDP. When you're talking about an ideology, the freedom to criticize it is paramount. But then it's okay to use actual racism when they're showing hook-nosed Jews or whatever other. This isn't about an ideology. This is about a people. So these media outlets are pretending to not show the thing because it's racist, to not show Islamic cartoons because it's racist, and then showing actual racist ones when the initial ones were ideological. So this is about defending the Enlightenment itself.
Here's the Globe's defense from the public editor. Just on this particular situation here, the mass murder, the terrorist attack in Paris. From the public editor of the Globe and Mail, one doesn't need to show a cartoon to show the story. The story is the killings, not the cartoon. Any story about killings must keep the focus on the victims. In this case, the Globe stories did focus on journalists, the police, and other victims. The CBC defense, when was that? Yesterday, I believe I read that on the air, was we don't want to offend the mass of Muslim believers. We wouldn't have published those on Tuesday. We don't need to publish them today.
Okay, so that's first of all, I'm guessing that the Globe and Mail must have hired the same PR firm that Gian Gomeschi did, because this would be the first time in world history that the focus was on the victims. Everybody knows who Charles Manson is. Nobody can name three of his victims. That's patently nuts. The story is about the fact that one group of courageous journalists had the courage to keep the spirit of the Enlightenment and laïcité alive. By the way, earlier you had you were speaking about some imam that was talking about this. Or, no, it wasn't a man. Sorry, it was some apologist, some author with a French accent, and he was talking about France was oppressing its Muslims with its policy of laïcité. Well, I actually wanted to call right after that. Laïcité is a 100-year-old or more policy in France of a secular government that keeps its hands out of religion, and that religion should not find its way into the public space, that it was a private matter. And that's what every country in the West should have, is laïcité. It doesn't oppress Muslims unless you use the Islamic definition of oppression, which means forbidding them from implementing their religious law and their values on everybody else. But it in no way is laïcité oppressive. It just means that you have to keep your religious beliefs to yourself and practice them in a way that doesn't interfere with other people's rights. So,
James, thank you. I just want to stop you there. I want to